Part 140. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1391. The Wild God Fruit. Fang Fan was stunned for a moment, then picked up a wild god fruit and played with it. This kind of fruit, how does it work? Ding. The existence of the special item origami fruit was detected. Ding. Devouring a wild god fruit, you can get 100 strands of the source power of the god of the wild god. The system sound came from his ear. Fang Fan blinked. This is the fruit of the source of God. Step through the iron shoes and find nowhere to find it without any effort. Fang Fan's breathing couldn't help but become rapid. Moreover, the source power of the gods exclusive to the wild god seems to be a bit unique. What is the difference between the source power of the ordinary gods? Ding. The source power of the gods exclusive to the gods of the gods is used by those with the gods of gods, and the effect is increased tenfold. Fang Fan's eyes lit up again, and the effect was increased tenfold. Then, how can one calculate that 100 strands of desolate gods exclusive god source power are equivalent to 1,000 strands of ordinary god source power? One strand of God's origin power is equivalent to 100 strands of God's origin power. This conversion is already a lot. This is an opportunity to wake up Xiao Xiao. Fang Fan clenched his fist subconsciously, and his eyes flashed with excitement. If this is the case, the effect of this wild god fruit is too great. Lord, is there anything wrong with this desolate god fruit? Please punish the Lord. Our desolate clansmen are incompetent, neglecting the Lord's desolate god fruit. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the desolate clan, looked terrified, and hurriedly knelt down on the ground. His face was silent. The patriarch of the wasteland, please get up, you have done a good job. I am very satisfied with this desolate fruit. Thank you. Fang Fan breathed a sigh of relief, then patted Huang Gan's shoulder and said sincerely, these 3 desolate god fruits can solve his urgent needs. I have to go out beforehand. Fang Fan said. His figure disappeared immediately. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Baron clan, blinked, and in an instant, the trace of the crown of the Baron god disappeared. The means of the god of wildness are really amazing. Huanggan nodded and sighed to himself, his words showing extreme respect. In the small world of Shushan Pavilion, Fang Fan silently walked into the area he personally created. Inside, there is a beautiful double bed, and Xiao Xiao is sleeping soundly on the bed at this moment. Fang Fan stepped forward and squeezed the quilt gently, with a guilty look on his face. It was for him that Xiao Xiao hurt his soul and fell into a coma. At that time, when he faced the 10th thunder tribulation of the Emperor's heavenly tribulation, it was already a dead end. But the thunder tribulation split, forming 2 5-star sanctuary heavenly thunders, and these 2 5-star sanctuary heavenly thunders turned into 5-star sanctuary realm silver dragons and golden phoenixes. At that time, Fang Fan relied on the power of the origami god's divine finger to kill the silver dragon, but he could no longer fight against the 5-star sanctuary realm golden phoenix. It is conceivable that if the 5-star sanctuary Jinfeng who was transformed into the shape of thunder that day was let down, Fang Fan would definitely die. Under such circumstances, Xiao Xiao risked her life to break into the thunder tribulation, annihilating the soul of the golden phoenix for Fang Fan, and Fang Fan successfully survived the Emperor's calamity. Everything seemed logical. Fang Fan's eyes turned to the side again. He saw a dark long sword. Above the long sword, there are gaps. The heaven-slaying sword was also hit hard by the Emperor's heavenly tribulation. Now the sword spirit of the heaven-slaying sword is also sleeping. Fang Fan gently caressed the body of the heaven-slaying sword. His eyes gradually softened. What a blessing in this life! With Xiao Xiao and Zantianjian. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1392. I will make sure you are safe and sound. Fang Fan said, his eyes twinkled brightly. Devouring the wild god fruit. Devour it all. Fang Fan said directly without any hesitation. Ding. Devouring the wild god fruit is successful. Ding. Successfully swallowed 3 desolate god fruits and obtained 100 strands of the source power of desolate god's exclusive god. The system sound came from his ear. Fang Fan nodded secretly. Everything was developing as he expected. Add the source of God to Xiao Xiao. Fang Fan first gave Xiao Xiao 100 strands of the source power of the desolate god and the corresponding power of 100 million beliefs. However, the source power and belief power of these gods is like a stone ox entering the sea, without any waves. Continue. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and then once again entered 100 strands of the source power of the gods exclusive to the gods into Xiaoxiao's body. At the moment, still no effect. Enter all. Fang Fan input the last 100 strands of the source power of the desolate god into Xiaoxiao's body. Fang Fan's heart gradually fell into silence. Still no effect. According to the system, if Aragama's exclusive source of God's power is controlled and used by him, the effect will be increased tenfold by 1. These 300 strands of the source power of the gods exclusive to the wild gods are already equivalent to 3,000 strands of the source power of ordinary gods, that is, 300,000 strands of the source power of ordinary gods. This is not a small number anymore. At least, this is the most divine source power Fang Fan has ever obtained. System, to wake up Xiao Xiao, how much God's source power and belief power do you need? This way of awakening, you said, is it useful? Fang Fan took a deep breath and asked directly. Ding. Please, host, don't rashly doubt this way of repairing the soul. Ding. The power of this little girl's soul has been seriously damaged, and her soul is extremely powerful. At least 10,000 strands of God's source power and tens of billions of beliefs are needed. Fang Fan. That number, crazy. The power of faith is easy to obtain. After returning, he only needs to build the temple well, and everything is not a problem. But 10,000 strands of God's source power, where did he get it? Now he has used 300 strands of desolate God's source power on Xiao Xiao, which is equivalent to 3,000 strands of ordinary God's source power, and it is still 7,000 strands away from 10,000 strands. Fang Fan felt his scalp tingle for a while. How much God's source power and the power of faith are needed to revive the heaven-slaying sword? Fang Fan took a deep breath. He had to figure out all these situations, set this as the goal, and then gradually complete it. Ding. Reviving the heaven-slaying sword spirit requires 1,000 strands of God's source power and 1,000,000,000 power of faith. Ding. Repairing the sword body of the heaven-slaying sword requires 1,000 strands of God's source power and 1,000,000,000 power of faith. If you want to restore the sword spirit and body of the heaven-slaying sword to normal, at least 2,000 strands of God's source power, that is, 200,000 strands of God's source power, plus 2,000,000,000 power of faith. Fang Fan clenched his fists silently. The pressure gradually came. God's source power needs to be obtained very quickly. After going out, think of a way as soon as possible. We must wake up Xiao Xiao and revive Heavenly Sword as soon as possible. Fang Fan secretly made up his mind. Before that, he needs to return to the human race plane and the palace of the Emperor. Ding. Aragama's gift. The cool-down time of the magical skill has been refreshed. Fang Fan raised his brows secretly. A smile appeared on his face. Refreshed, you can fully use a wave of Aragama's gift to improve the combat power of your followers. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times. Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 1393. Aragama's gift. If you use it on Aragama's servant god, the effect is quite strong. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes and thought to himself. Fang Fan glanced at the 8 great desolate gods and servants under his command. The 4 god pets. 4 heroes, Kyle, Caitlin, Jax, and Daji. However, the 4 heroes can't use this. After all, they have a potential upper limit, which cannot be higher than his 3 levels, and it is wasteful to use Aragama's gift on them. There are a total of 10 places for the servants of the gods of the wild, and now 8 are sealed, and there are still 2 places for the servants of the gods of the wild. It's better to seal them together. Fang Fan nodded secretly, thinking about it in his heart. Aragama's gift divine skills have certain requirements for faith level. The higher the level of belief, the better the effect of performing magical skills. Fang Fan secretly calculated in his heart, his eyes gradually narrowed. The last 2 places for the gods and servants of the wild gods, just use them for the people of the wild clan. The power of the servant god also means my power. Fang Fan thought in his heart that he already had a plan. Wild dry. Wild murder. Fang Fan's eyes were directly focused on Huang Qian, the head of the Baron clan, and Huang Shi, the young patriarch of the Baron clan, and then said silently, "Lord." Huang Gan and Huang Ji glanced at each other, then strode forward and bowed their hands to Fang Fan. Fang Fan nodded and saw that the eyes of the 2 of them gradually became more smiling. "May it be my servant god." Fang Fan went straight to the point and made clear what he meant. "God servant? Lord, this. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the desolate clan, trembled, and his eyes showed an unbelievable look. As he spoke, his breathing became more and more rapid. The young patriarch of the desolate clan on the side, Huang Shi, was even more so. At this moment, his face was already flushed, and it was difficult to speak. "What? You don't want to?" Fang Fan raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said in a slightly joking tone. No. How could it be, just too surprising. Lord, what is the virtue and ability of the wasteland? To be able to receive such kindness from the Lord. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the desolate clan, was talking and his eyes were shining brightly. When he spoke, his face flushed red, and he looked very excited. Excitement spins wildly in my mind. This feeling, it's real. Hee, these are all you deserve. You have helped me a lot by offering the wild god fruit. Fang Fan looked at Huang Gan, the patriarch of the desolate clan, and said sincerely, then his eyes turned to Huang Shi, the young patriarch of the desolate clan. Not to mention Huang Murder. He has followed me for a while. During this time, he charged into battle, and his loyalty is commendable. Let you be my servant god, I am very relieved. Fang Fan said, his eyes became sharper. Thank you Lord for cultivating. I am the Lord's sword. Whatever the Lord tells me to do, Huanggan will fight to the death. Huanggan fell to his knees on the ground, his eyes full of frankness. Huang Shi also knelt down on the ground, his body trembled slightly, and his excitement went straight into his mind. Edict Huanggan to be the 9th god of wilderness. Edict Huang Shi to be the 10th servant of Huang God. Fang Fan opened the conferred god list and said indifferently. Ding. Successfully seal the 9th servant god of wild god. Ding. The 10th servant of the arrogant god was successfully sealed. There is a system sound in my ear, and everything has been settled. At this moment, the 10 servant gods under Fang Fan's command have all gathered. The 10 servant gods have boundless combat power. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 1394. Aragami God servant God skill, favor, using Origami God's gift can achieve 10 times the effect. This is the first magical special effect of the God of the Gods. Complement each other with Origami's gift. Fang Fan directly summoned the 4 god pets under his command. Everything is ready to continue. It is time to display the effect of the blessing of the wild god. Fang Fan is going to cast the blessing of the wild god on the 6 servant gods of the wild gods in front of him at one time. Activate the magical skill Origami's gift. Ding. Please choose the quality of the gift. Ding. It is detected that the strongest temple under the host is 8th rank. The following quality gifts can be used. The gift of the peak of the 8th rank requires tens of thousands of strands of faith. The best gift of the 8th rank requires 1,000,000 strands of faith. 8th rank medium grade gift, it takes 100,000 threads of faith. 8th rank inferior gifts require 10,000 traces of faith. Although Fang Fan had previously obtained the qualification to be promoted to the 7th rank power from the Emperor's Palace in Chentian City, he only had this qualification. If you want to be promoted, you need to go back and upgrade a wave. The 8th grade gift, the effect is definitely not as good as the 7th grade gift, but the 7th grade gift will definitely require more power of faith. It will be more troublesome to accumulate at that time. Also, the Origami's gift magical skill can be refreshed once a month. It doesn't hurt. As Fang Fan thought about it, his eyes became more and more condensed, and then he nodded secretly. Overall, this is the case. Choose the gift of the 8th grade peak. Fang Fan directly selected the highest quality among the 8th grade gifts. Ding. Consuming 10 million traces of the power of faith, the 8th grade peak gift is successfully displayed. Immediately, the system sounded, and a white light flashed suddenly in front of my eyes. White light is pure energy transformed from the power of faith. At this moment, the 4 god pets and the desolate slaughter are directly shrouded. This is the supreme divine power under the crown of the wild god. Huang Gan murmured to himself, his eyes flickered with bright lights, and while speaking, he knelt down on the ground, looking particularly pious. The gift of the arrogant god. After the display, the promotion journey will fully begin. Dark Knight Kailan and Kunpeng were originally the 7-star Emperor realm, and Huangshi was originally the 5-star Emperor realm, and their promotion speed was the fastest. As for the little golden dragon and the 3-headed hellhound, they were originally low-level quasi-sacred realms, but at this moment, their strengths are improving very slowly. To Fang Fan's surprise, the patriarch of the desolate clan, Huang Gan, the cultivator of the quasi-sanctuary, seems to have changed a bit. Fang Fan's eyes lit up, and then he walked over to Huang Gan and looked at him with astonishment. Just when Fang Fan wanted to say something, Huang Gan had already opened his mouth. Lord, my bottleneck is broken. I feel like I'm about to be promoted. Huang Gan twitched his lips, his body trembled unnaturally, and his breathing gradually became more rapid. Huang Gan is already a quasi-sage, and then he is promoted, that is the sanctuary. Supreme sanctuary. Rumbling. In the sky, one after another thunder is gathering frantically. This is sanctuary thunder tribulation. Sanctuary thunder tribulation stimulated, indicating that there will be a sanctuary powerhouse born. Obviously, this sanctuary thunder tribulation was inspired by the Baron. Under the effect of the blessing of the wild god divine skill, the bottleneck of the sanctuary he had been working so hard to achieve for many years was broken. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1395. Go and have a good time. You hold this Holy Annihilation card, you can release a 3-star Holy Domain attack at a critical time, just in case. This Devouring Holy Armor is a 1-star Holy Weapon, you also wear it. This is a 4-star Holy Sword, you use it first. Be sure, to survive the Thunder Tribulation. Fang Fan's eyes flickered with brilliance, and he almost took out his family. Holy sword, holy armor, even the holy annihilation card at the bottom of the press box. Tian Li, it's never been so easy to get through. What's more, anyone who is involved with Fang Fan, Tian Li seems to be a little weird. Thinking of this, Fang Fan's eyes couldn't help but look at the divine pet Dark Knight Kylin and Kun Peng, when they crossed the Emperor's heavenly tribulation with ease. And the god pet three-headed dog, god pet little golden dragon, and Fang Fan himself, the Emperor's catastrophe that he passed through at that time was a nightmare level. This is crazy. However, it is always right to do more preparations and protection, at least, it can guarantee a certain degree of safety. Fang Fan thought to himself, and then nodded secretly. In all respects, his mode of thinking is correct. Thank you, Lord. The wasteland will surely survive the calamity successfully. Live up to the gift of the Lord. Huang Gan knelt down on one knee and said solemnly. After speaking, he turned around and flew into the air, and began his journey to transcend the calamity. The power of the sanctuary thunder tribulation is much stronger than the Emperor's heavenly tribulation. The eyes of the surrounding practitioners were instantly attracted, and even the existences thousands of miles away felt the sensation. This is the sanctuary thunder tribulation. Huang Gan has stepped into the sanctuary. How is this possible? In the war slaves' army, the former Brahma clan patriarch, Brahma, opened his mouth wide, and his eyes flashed strangely. The same forces in the Howling Canyon, everyone knows each other. I don't know how many thousands of years everyone has been promoted to the absolute quasi-sanctuary, but I have never heard of anyone who can break the barriers of the sanctuary. Invite sanctuary thunder tribulation. It's not a coincidence. The Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma, looked inexplicably towards Fang Fan, who was on the side. At this moment, the mysterious young man in front of him was already his master, and he was Fang Fan's war slave. Of course, this is only a physical surrender. As for the will, it is still somewhat unwilling. Could it be Fang Fan? No. The sanctuary thunder tribulation brought by the Lord's Ganghuangan. Brahma swallowed a mouthful of saliva, although he also felt that the possibility of this was very low, but at this moment he couldn't help but feel very real. If everything is as he expected, what kind of power does this Fang Fan possess? Brahma's passing eyes glanced at the Futujian, the former president of the Destroying God Association, and his eyes showed a look of inquiry. He wanted to know whether his guess was right. The former president of the God-Destroying Society, Futujian, opened his mouth, smacked his lips a few times, and fell silent again. He didn't know what to say to himself at this moment. It just feels fascinated. I think the same as you. The former president of the God-Destroying Society, Futujian, closed his eyes secretly and took a deep breath. He wanted to make himself more awake. The Lord is no more than a low-level quasi-sanctuary. However, it can allow the quasi-sage to break the bottleneck of the sanctuary as soon as possible, and attract the thunder of the sanctuary. He is so powerful. The Buddha sword muttered to himself, completely stunned. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1396. Although the top quasi-sages are rare, there are usually one or two of the top 4 rank forces. But the Sanctuary Powerhouse, that is the standard configuration of the third-grade forces. Even, the general third-rank forces don't even have the Sanctuary Powerhouse. Its scarcity can be imagined. And Fang Fan was actually able to let the quasi-sacred quasi-sage summon the Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation, and survived. This ability is shocking enough. Feeling, very real. Originally, for the Buddha sword and Brahma Di, their opponent Fan was somewhat disdainful. Although Fang Fan had many strong men, he was only a low-level quasi-sanctuary after all. They also had great complaints about Fang Fan's arrangement of them in the war slaves' army, but at this moment, the complaints gradually disappeared, and there was even some sense of expectation. In case God comes to me and chooses to enlighten me a few words, can I also attract thunder tribulation in the sanctuary, so as to advance to the realm of the sanctuary? The former president of the God-destroying society, Futujian, thought so in his heart. The smiles on his face became more and more, and this kind of intention seemed particularly real. And, the possibilities are great too. Thinking of this, Buddha Sword suddenly felt that there was nothing wrong with staying here. Be a war slave? What does this count for? As long as you can cross the sanctuary, being a war slave, is also a kind of enjoyment. The sanctuary thunder tribulations in the sky are still gathering crazily, and the battles are wave after wave, which is particularly intense. 1,000,000 miles away, Chentian City. Chen Tianyuan, the patriarch of the Chen Tian clan, soared high into the sky, and his brows could not help frowning. That's the direction of Howling Canyon. Someone in the Wailing Canyon has actually attracted the sanctuary thunder tribulation. If it is really past, it is the sanctuary powerhouse. The Wailing Canyon is a group of God-forsakens. If they really have a sanctuary powerhouse in charge, the threat is still the Chentian Star territory. Chen Tianyuan, the patriarch of the Chentian clan, thought about it, and there was a flash of light in his eyes. I don't know where she and the others are. That boy Fang Fan, how is it now? If the Chen Tian clan wants to survive in this chaotic world, they must become stronger. The tribulation has officially begun. The first thunder tribulation began to land crazily. Intermediate quasi-sanctuary. This thunder tribulation is easy to get through. Fang Fan glanced at the thunder robbery in the sky, then nodded and thought. After all, those who are qualified to cross the sanctuary thunder tribulation must be the most quasi-sacred powerhouses, and the top quasi-sacred powerhouses should not be afraid of the middle-level quasi-sanctuary thunder tribulation. The first sanctuary thunder tribulation landed, and Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Baron clan, naturally resisted it. The second and third sanctuary thunder tribulations that followed were also commonplace. The second sanctuary thunder tribulation, high-level quasi-sanctuary. The third sanctuary thunder tribulation, the ultimate quasi-sanctuary. For the barren land of the quasi-sanctuary, this kind of intensity of thunder tribulation is powerless. Generally, how many thunder tribulations are there in the sanctuary? Fang Fan secretly narrowed his eyes and asked a question subconsciously. Zi Ling Chen Tianqi and the others looked at each other, then shrugged and said they didn't know. This knowledge is beyond class. Generally speaking, the atmosphere of the sanctuary thunder tribulation is 3, 6, and 9. Sikong Yuxin blinked, then walked over with her delicate body twisted. She was the goddess of the Tianya Chamber of Commerce before, and relatively speaking, she has more knowledge reserves. She may have seen a lot of sanctuary thunder tribulations that may be terrifying in the eyes of others. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1397. After Sikong Yuxin finished speaking, he paused, and then continued, the intensity of the triple sanctuary thunder tribulation is the lowest. Generally speaking, it is the sky thunder of the quasi-sanctuary or lower level, and the general quasi-sanctuary is strong. The attackers can resist when they cross the calamity. If it is the triple sanctuary thunder calamity, almost all the quasi-sacred powerhouses will be able to smile. But obviously, this probability is too small. Generally only the darlings of God can encounter the triple sanctuary thunder tribulation. Generally speaking, The average quasi-sacred powerhouse will attract the 6th layer Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation. 6th layer Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation, which means that 6 thunders will land. The first 3 thunders are all at the quasi-sanctuary level and below, but they are quite common. But when it comes to the 4th thunder, you will encounter a 1-star Sanctuary Realm Thunder, and it will be difficult to resist. Generally speaking, you need to use some armor, talismans, or medicinal pills to get through it. This kind of 1-star Sanctuary Thunder is generally weaker, even less powerful than the random strike of an ordinary 1-star Sanctuary powerhouse. The 5th thunder is still a 1-star Sanctuary, but it is the strength of the peak 1-star Sanctuary. It is difficult for ordinary quasi-sacred powerhouses to resist. The most difficult thing in the 6-layer Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation is the last thunder, which is the 6th thunder, and the 6th thunder will have the strength of the 2-star Sanctuary, although the weakened version of the 2-star Sanctuary the strength, but it is not something that ordinary quasi-sage powerhouses can withstand. At this time, even using some armor is difficult to resist. On the whole, the quasi-sacred powerhouses who have encountered the 6th layer Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation are actually relatively lucky, because compared with the 9th layer Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation, those are really nothing. However, in general, the probability of encountering the 9th level Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation is smaller than the probability of encountering the triple level Sanctuary Thunder Calamity, and generally there is no need to worry. Sikong Yuxin gave a comprehensive explanation. Fang Fan nodded secretly. Relatively speaking, it was relatively thorough, at least he didn't sound very strenuous. Now the Patriarch of Huanggan has passed the first 3 thunders, and the thunder group has not dispersed at this moment. It is obvious that the 4th thunder will come soon. If that's the case, it's very likely that the Huanggan Patriarch encountered the 6th layer Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation. Fang Fan nodded as he spoke. With the 4-star Holy Sword, the 1-star Swallowing Holy Armor, and the Holy Annihilation card that he lent to Huanggan, I believe it will not be very difficult in the end. In this way, a sanctuary powerhouse will appear under his command. Moreover, this sanctuary powerhouse is also his servant god, and he can call on the power of the god of Wild God to add to himself at any time. Fang Fan thought in his heart, and then his eyes became brighter and brighter. In this way, the benefits are self-evident. At this moment, Wild Murder, Hell's 3-headed dog, Little Golden Dragon, Kunpeng, and Dark Knight Kylan have all recovered from their cultivation state. They have all completely digested the energy of the magical skill, the gift of the arrogant. Lord, I have been promoted to the 10-star Emperor realm. My lord, I have also been promoted to the 10-star Emperor realm. Lord, I too. Huang Si, Kunpeng, and Dark Knight Kylan stepped forward and said. Huang Shi was originally a 5-star Emperor realm, but now he has been promoted to a 10-star Emperor realm, and has been promoted to 5 levels. Divine Pet Kunpeng and Dark Knight Kylan were originally 7-star Emperors, but now they have both been promoted to 10-star Emperors by 3 levels. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1398. Fang Fan's eyes gradually shifted, looking at the little golden dragon Aoguang and the 3-headed dog of hell. Lord, none of us have ever been promoted. The little golden dragon and the 3-headed hellhound each came over with a guilty look on their faces. The Lord, who cherishes the most, gave them the opportunity, but they did not bring the corresponding reward. You are all low-level quasi-sacred realms, and the gift of the 8th grade peak cannot make you advance. It's normal. You should all have entered the peak state of the low-level quasi-sage at this moment. With just a little guidance, you can find an opportunity to break through. Fang Fan nodded, but seemed very optimistic. How difficult it is for a quasi-sanctuary to raise a level. Fang Fan is in a low-level quasi-sacred realm at the moment. He deeply understands that in this realm, he will basically remain motionless after meditating and practicing for a few days. And that long and narrow promotion progress bar is enough to make people desperate. As for Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Baron clan, it can only be said that luck is indeed good enough. The original realm of the wasteland was the quasi-sacred realm, the one that was only a line away from the realm of the sacred realm. But it is this line, and I don't know how many talented cultivators are hindered from the road to promotion. One step is holy, one step is ordinary, the gap between the two is too great. Fang Fan pondered inwardly, and couldn't help but look at Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Baron clan who was transcending the calamity in the sky. At this moment, the fourth thunder has fallen. The fourth thunder, the weakened version of the one-star sanctuary level. Rumbling. The explosion of thunder sounded, shaking the world. Huang Gan held the 4-star holy sword that Fang Fan gave him, and directly collided with this weakened version of the 1-star holy domain level thunder. Click. Stab. The holy sword slashed at Tianli and split it directly. After all, this is only a 1-star sanctuary level Tianli, and it is still a weakened version. The general quasi-sacred powerhouse can support it by himself, but at this moment Huang Gan is holding a 4-star holy sword. Boundless combat power. It's normal to smash through thorns and waves. As Fang Fan pondered, the fifth thunder had begun to fall. The 1-star sanctuary level enhanced version of Tianli fell. Huang Gan is still the same as before, fighting with the 4-star holy sword in his hand, and the remaining power of the thunder bombards him, and he is directly swallowed by the 1-star swallowing holy armor. From the first sky thunder to the fifth sky thunder, there were basically no accidents, and it seemed to be extremely smooth from beginning to end. The sixth thunder is gathering in the thunder group. When did Huang Gan become so strong? He was able to easily annihilate a 1-star sanctuary level thunder? It's incredible. If he had such fighting power when he fought with us before, why would he be repulsed and injured by us? The former president of the God-destroying society, Futujian, let out a breath, and his eyes flashed with different rays of light. From his point of view, I just feel that there are problems and tricks here. Overall, it's weird. Patriarch Brahma, isn't there a place to be curious? As the former president of the Destroying God Society, Buddha Sword, said, his eyes focused directly on the death of the Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma. At this moment, they are dependent on each other. They attacked the Desolate clan in the past, and now they are both Fang Fan's war slaves, and they are both deputy commanders of the War Slaves Corps. President Buddha, look at the sword in Huang Gan's hand and the armor on his body. Have we seen these before? The head of the Brahma clan, Brahma, said as he spoke, and the corners of his mouth naturally rose. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1399. After the reminder of the death of the Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma, the former president of the God-extinguishing society, Futujian, suddenly realized. All of them are holy artifacts. There is no such good thing in our Wailing Canyon. Then this sacred armor, stomach and long sword, they belong to the Lord. The Buddha sword's eyes lit up, and at this moment Fang Fan's identity became more and more surprising. This one looks weird from every angle. If you really think about it carefully, everything will become clear. The Buddha sword and Brahma passed a glance at each other, and then nodded tacitly. Each other, understand in seconds. Lord, it's not easy. Maybe, from a superpower that shocked them. If you look at it this way, wouldn't they be considered chickens and dogs? In this way, even if you become a war slave, it seems that there is nothing. It is better than being suppressed by many forces before and forced to stay in the Wailing Canyon to become a so-called god abandoned. Thinking of this, both Buddha sword and Brahmade will smile. Rolling thunder, landing. The sixth thunder, the weakened version of the 2-star sanctuary level. Huanggan, the patriarch of the Baron clan, flew into the sky, and the combat power was instantly stimulated. With a 4-star holy sword and a 1-star devouring holy armor, Huanggan will not be afraid of these. Not only will he not be afraid, but there is also a sense of casualness. Boom! The sixth thunderbolt fell. Huanggan first used the 4-star holy sword to slash, and then used the swallowing holy armor to resist most of the remaining energy. Immediately, when the thunder energy came to him, there was not much left. Huanggan's body trembled, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, but he was only slightly injured. According to common sense, the 6 thunders have ended. After all, what most of the quasi-sacred powerhouses have experienced is the 6th layer sanctuary thunder calamity. Father has passed. My father is going to be promoted to the sanctuary. Thank you, Lord. The young patriarch of the Baron clan, Huang Shi, walked in front of Fang Fan with an excited look, and then hurriedly bowed. The expressions on the faces of the others around him also seemed very relaxed, but Fang Fan's eyes were instantly locked. Wait. The situation, it's not as simple as you think. The thunderbolt never dissipated. This is 9-layer sanctuary thunder tribulation. Fang Fan took a deep breath and said softly. As he spoke, his hands were clenched unnaturally, and there were bright lights in his eyes. The picture he didn't want to see the most, still here. The situation is delicate. 9-layered sanctuary thunder tribulation? This, isn't it possible? Huang Shi's body trembled slightly, and he glanced in the direction of his father with a burning gaze. His eyes were full of worry. You must know that the probability of attracting the 9th level sanctuary thunder tribulation is even lower than that of the triple level sanctuary thunder tribulation. How lucky is this? Fang Fan frowned secretly. At first, he also speculated that it might be the existence of the supreme beings who shot again. But he didn't feel any divine soul aura on these thunderbolts. In other words, the existence above the supreme heavens should not do anything. And the drought, is it a fate that deserves a catastrophe? Or, was it only after I was put into effect that I was targeted by Lei Ji? Fang Fan squirmed, and the thoughts in his mind began to gather, but it was difficult to make any major discoveries. It seems that everything is a mystery. Mysteries gather together, leaving Fang Fan nowhere to be found. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1400. No matter what, let Huanggan survive the Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation. 9-layer Sanctuary Thunder Tribulation? So what? The corners of Fang Fan's mouth raised secretly, and a firm look flashed in his eyes. There was a trouble with the one who was in the heavens before, and I don't know what happened recently. Is there any other conspiracy? Fang Fan shook his head slightly. Many things were just mysteries. These mysteries lingered in Fang Fan's mind, and it was always difficult to remove them. Just like the 3-headed dog and the little golden dragon were targeted when they crossed the thunder tribulation, and when it came to the Dark Knight Unicorn and Kunpeng, they were gone. In the supreme heaven, in a certain temple, a middle-aged man in red robe is meditating. Puff. The middle-aged man in the red robe protruded against the blood, and his eyes were blood red. Damn it! I didn't expect that bastard to cause so much damage to my soul. I almost collapsed. Again, rest for a while. During this period of time, just let those of my believers have a good time with you. The middle-aged man in red robe raised the corner of his mouth slightly, with a sarcastic look on his face. Use a quasi-holy healing card when you are injured. I have as many cards as I want. Don't be stingy. If you feel that you can't resist, just use that holy annihilation card. Everything is based on the premise of saving your life. Fang Fan looked at Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Baron clan, and immediately issued an order. Follow the orders, Lord. The waste will not disgrace the mission. Huang Gan gritted his teeth, and his eyes showed excitement. In any case, he couldn't let the Lord down. The Lord has poured so much effort into him. If he still fails to cross the tribulation, what face will he take to see the Lord? Going to see the great desolate God? Huang Gan thought so in his heart, and the corners of his mouth began to rise wildly. Such willpower and thinking are all the more real. The seventh thunder has come. An enhanced version of the two-star sanctuary. The wasteland flies into the sky and confronts the thunder. Click. The explosion sounded, and everything gradually became silent. Sonorous. Sonorous. Thunder will completely wrap the Baron dry, let him suffer in the thunder and lightning. The enhanced version of the two-star sanctuary level Sky Thunder is much stronger than the weakened version of the two-star sanctuary level Sky Thunder. At this moment, there is a collision, and the power explodes completely. Gives a feeling of tremor from within. Boom. The barren body fell from the air and fell heavily to the ground. Puff. A mouthful of blood was spit out, and Huang Gan was obviously seriously injured. Use a quasi-holy healing card. Fang Fan quickly reminded him. Huang Gan's hand closed his head, nodded again and again, and put a white card in his hand, emitting a milky white light. After a few seconds, all the wounds healed. Can continue to fight? Although the thunder tribulation of the nine-layer sanctuary is terrifying, the possibility of surviving the barrenness is still great. There are still 2 thunderbolts left, hold on. Fang Fan nodded secretly, his eyes revealing infinite expectations. His subordinates may soon usher in the first sanctuary powerhouse. The 8th thunder, continue to gather. The power of the 8th thunder has increased to the Samsung sanctuary level, although it is a weakened version, it should not be underestimated. Sikong Yuxin reminded. Fang Fan nodded, reaching the sanctuary realm, a leap of 1 level, the combat power will be 10 times or more different. Naturally to be stable, and then stable.